It was mid-afternoon on a dusty October Friday when I pulled my old Ford F-150 up to the familiar bend where the gravel road to my father's old cabin branched off from the county Tulane. The sun was hanging low over the rolling hills of Chesterfield County, Virginia, casting long shadows across the red clay and the scattered oaks that had watched me grow up. I had driven this stretch 1,000 times, first as a boy learning to handle a stick shift from Dad, then as a man coming home from places where the dust was mixed with gunpowder and regret. But that day, something was wrong. Dead wrong. Instead of the open path winding up to the ridge, there was a fresh-poured concrete barrier squatting across it like a bully claiming turf. Two men in crisp black uniforms stood guard, arms crossed, eyes hidden behind sunglasses. And in front of them, a woman in a light blue suit, mid-40s, with a haircut sharp enough to slice paper and a clipboard pressed to her chest like a shield. Well, looks like our little trespasser is back, she said, her voice carrying that edge of superiority you hear from folks who think rules are their personal weapons. Sir, you need to understand this road belongs to civilized people now. I killed the engine and stepped out slow, keeping my hands loose at my sides, breathing steady like I'd been trained. The name's Henry Caldwell, and for 15 years this road had been more than just gravel and dirt. It was the vein connecting me to the place where Dad taught me to tie knots that wouldn't slip, to read the sky for incoming storms, to stand quiet in the woods until the world revealed its secrets. 3 months back, I'd scattered his ashes along its curves, watching them mix with the dust as the wind carried him home. Now these strangers were barring the way, acting like they owned the memory too. I scanned the scene quick. Old habits from deployments where missing a detail could cost everything. 2 new cameras bolted to steel posts, angled to catch plates and faces. Earpieces on the guards, coiled wires disappearing into collars. Fresh tire ruts from heavy trucks, not the kind locals drive. The barrier wasn't slapped down random. It blocked the narrowest point, forcing any vehicle to stop dead in the camera's crosshairs. This was set up with intent, military-grade precision hidden behind suburban smiles. The woman stepped forward, her pearl earrings glinting like tiny spotlights, chin lifted just so. I'm Vivian Hargrove, president of the Willow Creek Estates Homeowners Association, and you are trespassing on community property. I noted her stance, shoulders square, feet planted, every move rehearsed for dominance. Her left hand gripped a leather portfolio, right hand free, ready to point, to command. She'd played this role before, probably enjoyed it. Ma'am, I replied, keeping my tone even, the way you do when de-escalating a situation that could go sideways. This is my family's access road. Dad and I laid it in 2008. No association has jurisdiction here. Her laugh cracked like thin ice under boots. Oh, Mr. Caldwell, I'm afraid you're quite mistaken. This thoroughfare was designated as community infrastructure following the recent municipal safety assessment. Municipal safety assessment. The words hung there, official sounding but hollow. I knew the timing, filed the morning after Dad's service, when the ground was still fresh over his plot. Coincidence? In my line of work, coincidences got people killed. I'd like to see that assessment, I said, not moving closer, just holding ground. She smiled wider, but it didn't touch her eyes. Of course, though the documentation process requires advanced appointment scheduling. Board meetings are held the 3rd Thursday of each month, 7:30 p.m. Next Thursday was weeks away. Plenty of time for a grieving son to get frustrated, maybe sell out cheap, or just walk away. That's how these things worked. Were you down with delays, make fighting feel futile. In the meantime, she added, her voice smoothing out, this access point remains restricted pending completion of our infrastructure review. The guard to her left, name tag read Derek, shifted his weight, hand drifting casual-like toward his radio. Their positioning was textbook, one eye on me, the other scanning horizons. Not rent-a-cops fresh from a weekend course. These men had real training, the kind where you learn to spot threats before they materialize. Mrs. Hargrove, I said, stepping just a hair closer to the barrier, testing their reactions. How did you know about my father's death? For a split second, her composure flickered, something cold and calculating flashed behind those eyes. Then the mask snapped back. Small community, Mr. Caldwell. Word travels. We were deeply saddened by your loss. But Dad had been a recluse these last years, content with his cabin, his fishing gear, and the quiet. No neighbors in Willow Creek knew him by name. I'd sorted his papers myself. No HOA notices, no letters, nothing. She was lying, and poorly. You filed your safety assessment request the day after his funeral? I pressed. October 15th, at 9:47 a.m. Electronic timestamp doesn't lie. The air went still. Derek's finger froze over his radio. The other guard glanced at Vivian, waiting for cues. Base, this is Checkpoint Alpha, Derek said into his mic. Subject is displaying signs of escalation. Requesting guidance on detention protocols. Detention protocols. They were gearing up to arrest me on my own dirt. In another life, in sand-swept villages half a world away, I'd faced roadblocks man by man with AKs and worse intentions. Back then, escalation meant something permanent. Here, it was clipboards and cuffs, but the principle was the same. Power flex to break a man's will. You might want to reconsider that, I said quietly, shifting my stance just enough, shoulders squared, weight balanced. Not aggressive, but ready. Derek hesitated, his eyes narrowing. He saw it now, the way I held myself, the calm that came from places where panic got you dead. Professionals recognize their own. Vivian caught the pause. Derek, Please document this interaction. Mr. Caldwell is becoming increasingly agitated. But Derek shook his head slightly. Ma'am, perhaps we should. I pulled out my phone. Let me help with the documentation. I hit record, panning slow across the barrier, the guards, the cameras, landing on her face. Today is Friday, October 21st, approximately 3:15 p.m. I'm Henry Caldwell, attempting to access my family property via the road my father and I built in 2008. I'm being blocked by members of the Willow Creek Estates HOA who claim municipal authority over private property. Turn that off immediately, she snapped, her voice pitching up. Public road, public interaction. The First Amendment applies here. This is not a public road. Then you have no municipal authority whatsoever, which means you're trespassing and preventing lawful access to a private residence. Her face flushed under the makeup. You have no idea who you're dealing with, Mr. Caldwell. Enlighten me. She gestured sharp, and the guard stepped forward, not lunging, but closing the space, hands resting on belts, projecting that wall of intimidation meant to make a man back down. This community represents significant economic interests, she said, her words clipped. Property values in excess of $40 million. Municipal contracts worth hundreds of thousands annually. Influential residents with connections throughout the county. Threats wrapped in numbers, power flexed through implication. I'd heard similar speeches in briefing rooms, where suits explained why villages had to relocate for progress, why families had to scatter for the greater good. And you think that impresses me because men like you always have a price. Everyone does. Men like me. The phrase hung there, loaded with assumption. She saw a middle-aged guy in faded jeans, dust on his boots, fresh from scattering ashes. Vulnerable, maybe broke, easy to buy off or scare away. I turned back to my truck, moving deliberate, no rush. They watched, uncertain now. Vivian said something low and sharp to Derek, who shook his head again. From the driver's seat, I made 3 calls. First to the county recorder's office, confirming the property lines and road rights. No changes, no covenants. The clerk sounded surprised, like she'd fielded similar questions lately. Second to my attorney, leaving a message, urgent, property access blocked by unauthorized HOA. Need callback ASAP. The third was to the Davidson County Sheriff's Department. This is Henry Caldwell. I need to report unlawful obstruction of property access. Nature of the obstruction, sir? Concrete barriers placed across a private road by individuals claiming municipal authority without documentation. Address. I gave the coordinates. The dispatcher paused, keys clicking. Sir, that location shows active HOA management. Are you sure this isn't a community matter? I'm sure. Property records confirm private ownership since 2008. No HOA covenant, no easements. Units responding. Remain in your vehicle until officers arrive. I leaned back, watching in the rear view as Vivian paced, phone to her ear, gesturing wild. The guards stood apart, Derek keeping distance from whatever she was planning. 20 minutes later, 2 cruisers rolled up, lights off, but presence heavy. Deputy Harrison approached my truck, hand resting casual on his belt. His partner headed to the barrier. Mr. Caldwell. Deputy Harrison. Can you walk me through this? I stepped out, hands visible. Family property up that road. Been accessing it 15 years. Came home today, found this barrier. They claim HOA authority, but no legal basis. Harrison listened, nodding, glancing occasional at Vivian, who was talking rapid to the other deputy. Do you have ownership docs? I showed the deed on my phone, county map highlighting the road as private. Ma'am claims municipal authority, Harrison said. Ask for the recorded covenant. Ask for the closure permit. Ask for the court order allowing detention on private land. Harrison's brow furrowed. Those were specific, the kind of details that came from knowing the law inside out, or having seen too many bad setups. You seem familiar with this stuff, Mr. Caldwell. Familiar enough. He walked over. The conversation with Vivian was heated but short. She waved papers, pointed at me. Harrison shook his head multiple times. Derek and his partner looked uncomfortable, like they knew the ground was shifting. Harrison returned. They can't produce legal authority. No covenant for this property, no permit for closure. We'll have them remove it. Vivian overheard, her voice rising. This is unacceptable. I'm calling Commissioner Ellis right now. Name dropping again. But Harrison just nodded polite. Ma'am, you do that. But without docs, this barrier comes down. The removal crew arrived fast, too fast for coincidence. Hargrove Holdings truck, professional equipment. They had it loaded in 40 minutes, under deputy supervision. As I drove through the cleared path, I noted the cameras stayed up. Watching. That evening, in Dad's cabin, the place still smelled like his pipe tobacco and wood smoke. I fired up the laptop. Public records first. Willow Creek Estates, HOA filings. Sparse, recent, aggressive expansions. Cross-referenced with death notices. 7 properties in 3 years, all elderly owners, all integrated into HOA management post-funeral. Fees flowing to Hargrove Holdings. Business registry. Hargrove Holdings, incorporated 18 months back. Officers, Vivian as president, Edmund Hargrove as treasurer. Her husband. Edmund's background, ex-Army Corps of Engineers, discharged under cloud for bid rigging on contracts. That explained the precision setups. Blackstone Security, Reed's company, hiring ex-military with checkered records. Specialized in community protection, code for muscle. Commissioner Ellis. His firm repped big developers pushing condo projects. Dad's land sat square in a proposed consolidation zone, prime for high-rises if obstacles cleared. This wasn't random greed. It was systematic, targeting the vulnerable, widows, vets, folks without fight left. Dad would have hated it. He fought in Korea, built this place with calloused hands, taught me justice wasn't abstract. I thought about calling it in local, but this smelled bigger. Picked up the phone instead. Ramirez, it's Caldwell. Captain? Been a while. What can Intel do for you? Need a deep dive on Hargrove Holdings, Willow Creek Estates. Property fraud angle. 2 hours later, Ramirez called back. Your HOA Prez is married to Edmund Hargrove. Bid rigging discharge. Blackstone hires dishonorables. Commissioner Ellis's firm ties to developers. But Captain, this pattern's in Colorado, Arizona, Texas. Same playbook. Target isolates, move post-death, collect fees, force sales. Bigger than one county. 47 communities, 7 states. $60 million in stolen value. Targeting military families, elders. I leaned back, staring at Dad's old map on the wall. This wasn't just my road. It was a war on the vulnerable. Messaged Colonel Whitaker. Captain Caldwell reporting systematic fraud on veteran properties. Request consult. Response, 0700, secure facility. Bring everything. The drive next morning was through fog-shrouded hills, mind turning over memories. Deployments where we protected villages from warlords claiming authority. Now home, same fight, different uniforms. The facility was plain, storage front, high-tech inside. Whitaker, silver-haired but iron-spined. Been tracking these rings 19 months. Your case fits 47 others. $60 million from vulnerables, vets, elders. Scope, organized, interstate, using HOAs as fronts for land grabs. My role, infiltrate as grieving son. Document. Gave me mil-spec phone, audio, video, real-time to feds. Provoke nothing. Let them expose themselves. A letter waited at the cabin. Enhanced security due to hostile behavior. Background screening required. Escorted access only. Escalation. Called Vivian. Need to discuss accommodation. Her community center. Actually her $2.3 million mansion. Circular drive, fountain, cameras everywhere. Inside, marble, chandeliers, intimidation by design. Coffee, scotch, water. Office, her elevated desk, legal tomes for show. Grief makes people reactive. Probe for weakness. Needed background check. Criminal, financial, refs. Leverage points. $1,200 per month management plus costs. Supervised access weekdays 9 to 4. Not your property in meaningful sense. Community decides. Buyout or manage, her choice. Legal fights expensive, unpredictable. Recorded every word. Board meeting that night. Luxury clubhouse, 47 residents in Mercedes crowd. Vivian, threat to security, aggressive. I presented, maps showing private road, Hargrove registrations, 7 fraud cases, development plans demolishing their homes for towers. Chaos. Called Whitaker, agents en route. 12 minutes. SUVs, Agent Ramirez. Vivian cuffed, fraud, theft, veterans violations. 6 months on, 63 families restored, $8 million back. Vivian 8 years, Edmund 6, Blackstone civil rights suits. Ellis lost contracts, career. Cabin, Caldwell Memorial Center for Veteran Property Rights. Road protected federal. Nights driving it. Think of Vivian's price. Hers prison. Mine ensuring no more victims. When unfairness blocks your way, detour or destroy. Comments. Stand on injustice. Violence as response. Share positions. Read all.